Today's your lucky day. We're going to read the Three Little Pigs together, and we're going to look at the different pieces of the story and correlate those to the lit terms that we've been studying. Also, you'll notice in your assignments on Buzz that you have a link to study your lit terms. So I've made flashcards for you. I want to make sure that we all learn those lit terms and we have them down pat. Okay? So here we go. All right. So you can see when we talk about once upon a time in a quiet little town, there lived three little pigs. One day the pigs decided it was time to leave their mother's home. So we know that this is setting and exposition. Exposition is the background of a story. We know that these three pigs have lived with their mom, now they're moving out. We know the setting, it's a quiet little town. Then we go into the introduction of our characters. Okay, so the first little pig, and I'm going to let you read this page for just a second. Okay, now we've been introduced to our first character, and actually our first two characters. The first little pig, we don't have a name, and then the wolf. Okay, and we also have our first conflict. We have man versus man. Now I know that these are imaginary creatures, but you get the point. You have a conflict between one individual and another individual. Okay, and this is all also part of the rising action. This is all the stuff that is leading up to the major climax in the story. Okay, take a second and read this page. And you'll see that again, we have external conflict, man versus man, and we're still in the rising action portion of the story. Again, we have the wolf at the next house, external conflict, rising action. Okay, now we've reached the climax of the story. The pigs are all at the house that is well made by bricks, and the wolf comes over, and this is the last house. There's only three pigs, okay? So as a child, when we were reading this, I'm sure we were feeling some, oh my gosh, what's going to happen if he knocks over that house? He's going to eat the pigs, right? Okay, so I mean, I know as adults we've read this over and over, and as older students, it is kind of silly. But it does prove a nice point. This is the climax of the story because you can't wait to see what's going to happen next. So he huffs and he puffs and he blows the house and nothing happens, right? Except for the wolf topples over. So we still have man versus man. We still have that external conflict. But we also have the climax because this is like the most important part. And the pigs end up beating out the wolf in this story. They're like, yeah. So then at the end of the story, we've got the falling action, the things that happen right after the climax, and we have the resolution, the three little pigs live happily ever after. Okay? Now, what you guys are going to do is you are going to open your new assignment and you're going to do the exact same thing with this story, Little Red Riding Hood. Okay? There are two different kind of pictures that I took of the story, and I want you to do the same thing. I want you to label it. All right? I'm going to have some questions. So if you want to look on your screen and read it and then look at the quiz, The questions will be like, what's the exposition? And it will be multiple choice. Okay, so make sure that you review those lit terms before you read Little Red Riding Hood. And then I promise we will be finished with our goofy fairy tales, probably for the year. Okay, I just like to use things that are easy to understand and that everybody knows when we are going through an explanation. Okay, so pull open that assignment and get busy. Let me know if you have any questions.